Hey, I'm Lizzie. Welcome into Central Alabama Voice. Real people, real stories, real voices. Our team of 6 talented people with innovative brains are ready to embark on a brand new digital-based media platform where our goal is to tell stories of real people and how they are affected by the issues in the Central Alabama region. Today I am joined by President Randy Lee, Vice President Brett Pritchard, and Executive Producer John Kennedy. Hi.
Hello.
Glad to be here, Lizzie. This is something we've been working on for quite some time, and trying to unveil it has been a discussion that we've been having for at least a month, and it's time.
Yeah, it's time to do it. So the greatest part about having so many different voices and different talents with all of us is that we all have different stories to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. So we want to kind of go around the table and dig into, what our purpose is, what our point is, and what we're going to be bringing to you guys. So, Randy, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what stories you hope to tell through Central Alabama Voice.
Well, we've been doing quite a bit of media work over the last 15 years, along with John Kennedy, who's been our partner for a majority of those years, Brett and myself. And the digital world's changed everything. TV and radio are still very, very important to our overall mix, but
Right.
Having a digital element we've all known is very important. And so Central Alabama Voice is just an extension of some other things that we've been working on, but we want it to be, a big extension to what we're working on to
Right.
Expand on the sports footprint that we've had here in the state of Alabama, and to tell a little bit more newsworthy stories around people that I don't think is necessarily happening as much as it should. And it's to be understood with the decline of journalism, the
Right.
decline of local newspapers, statewide news agencies, no longer the journalists that we've seen out there in years past. So when you ask me what would I like to see, I would just like to see more stories giving a spin that is for both sides, not
Right.
necessarily left, right, black or white, both sides of the story. That's going to be important to me.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is we want real people to use their voices to tell their stories. Brett, let's talk about politics. I know you've got some political, you're interested in politics. How do you envision us? I don't know why either. How do you envision us tackling some of those more hot button political issues through CAV?
And look, you can look through the history of politics, and that's really what makes this country so great, is that you have an opportunity to get out there and have a platform, and you get to represent, the people get an equal representation at the state level. In
Right.
Washington, we may not all agree all the time, but the system's set up. It's the best country in the world to live in. And just a little bit about myself too. First, as Randy said, been doing broadcasts. This will be my 21st year to do sports broadcasting. That's where my heart and my love is. That's the reason I got into the media business. I actually have a degree in this field. My degree from Auburn University was in radio, television, and film, mass communication. So I've always had a love for this. I've always enjoyed, even as a young kid, listening to games on the radio, and that's kind of how I evolved into what I am. I don't claim to be anywhere near an outstanding broadcaster. I just have a passion for it. I just enjoy it. And so in the media with Randy and I have morphed into different things, and with the birth of social media here in the last decade, everybody has a voice. Now, whether you like it or not, everybody has an opportunity to be heard, and you feel like you're really close to everybody now. Whereas that movie star or that singer or that athlete you felt like was unapproachable, you can actually maybe get an interaction with them
Right.
on a platform on social media, whereas in the past you can't. So that kind of led us to all of this, and as Randy said, with the standard media outlets having their challenges out there in the world now, a lot of the stories that we've seen that are real in-depth investigative stories that would tell some really cool things, there's not enough people out there to go and do that anymore, and so a lot of that has been lost. And you would thought the opposite of that with social media. You thought more of that would go on, but really it's not. It's more short snippet stuff. So I'm excited about that. And from a sports and political side of things, the politics right now in this country, there's never been a more divided arena on the political side to me. A more cut and dried, you're either Democrat or you're Republican. There are still moderates out there. I don't think their voice gets heard a lot. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to sit everybody down, whatever political affiliation, whether they're Libertarian, Independent, Republican, Democrat, birthday party. I think that's what Kanye is running on, is the birthday party. But whatever party you want to be part of, we don't have an allegiance. We want to be able to put the story out there. And so I'm going to kind of head up that side of things because politics affects all of our lives. It affects us monetarily. It affects us from a governmental standpoint. It affects us from our jobs. Affects our family. So it's got a fingerprint in everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked a lot about social media and how social media has kind of changed the game for more traditional journalists. And we want to bring more traditional journalism to a social media platform. So we'll only be based on social media platforms. John comes from a long media background. So John, why don't you tell a little bit about how you think Central Alabama Voice will be different from those more traditional outlets?
Well, to me, it's about the region we're going to carry, and I'll explain. I do have a big background, about 26 years in media, started in radio, evolved into television. So all those platforms are basically transitioning. So there was a big debate in our industry, the broadcast industry, about 10 years ago, and either people got with it or they moved away from it and shied away from it, and that was having a digital stance. So my companies embraced those, and we went. It was an extension of what we do. So we build content. It's the same content. We just put it on a digital platform, and then we figure out where we want to go, although it's available worldwide. But the exciting part about this endeavor to me is this. I've worked primarily in small markets my entire career. As we talk about some of the major areas we want to go, Montgomery's a big town, right? But it ranks in the ratings. It's down in the halfway down in the 300 markets, right? But then you go to the other towns where you have Auburn, Opelika, Valley, and then you come around the Horn to Alexander City, Sylacauga, up the corridor, even to Chelsea, which is now not so much a bedroom community anymore, to Birmingham. And so we all grew up, people our age, and young people don't understand this, we grew up with regionalized television and regionalized radio. So what happened is they were based out of the big towns. So your town really didn't get a lot of news. I mean, it got that, I don't know, Lizzie, I don't know how you put it, but they got that token coverage just enough. But then, if you're sitting down, you guys grew up in the Lake Martin area, right? Now, Lizzie, you're from Virginia, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So you grew up there, and I don't know if you were in a big town or small town, but here's the point. My news in Auburn, Opelika, where I've lived, a long time and worked a long time, as well as Valley and then up here, it either comes out of Birmingham, Montgomery, or even Columbus, Georgia.
Right.
So what you get is you get a bunch of news that's useless to you. So I think the point is that we want to cover the things that affect our area here, and then we're going to give a voice and and get that out there, because quite frankly, we can't get it through the major mainstreams. So I think that's the big thing that I'm excited about, is that we're going to do it. Now, sports-wise, we cover Alabama, as a state, and then we specialize in our areas. But now you're going to actually have some content and some coverage that's indigenous to your area.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have two content specialists that are going to be part of the team who are not with us, but we want to talk about them a little. Let's start with Lauren. Lauren Welcher, she's new to media, but she's really excited. She brings a really fresh perspective, a fresh voice. She, when I was talking to her, she said, I'm just a country girl from Childersburg, and I think that's what we need. Randy, talk a little bit about what you envision Lauren bringing to the table for us.
Well, I've worked with Lauren for 5+ years. She runs our Lee Apparel division of Lee Marketing Group. And she's got a great personality. She's not scared of the camera. She likes being around people. I think she'll add a lot to the lifestyle portion of what we want to cover. She works in and around the wedding industry a lot. She does makeup work and a lot of other things. So John and I have talked at depth that we definitely want to dive into the lifestyle and show the lifestyle of Central Alabama as well as anyone else is out there. And I think Lauren will be able to to add a piece to the pie that we really need with Central Alabama Voice, of someone that is in that market, knows that market, and wants to report on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our other content specialists is Caleb Brooks, and you guys might know him from the HSAA Radio Network, has a big background in sports. Also has that advantage of he's great at doing those in-depth interviews, which is something that we want to focus on, really getting in-depth with people and with their stories. Brett, tell us a little bit about Caleb and what he's done for y'all at HSAA Radio Network.
Yeah, Caleb, as you said, has a sports background. He played sports in high school and in college, and he came to us a couple years ago, and we've watched Caleb really grow in this arena the last year. We had a vision. Randy and I had a vision of being able to send somebody around the state of Alabama and really report on everything from any type of perspective of high school athletics. It just doesn't have to be about a particular team, but all the different things that surround high schools and high school athletics. And given a snapshot really of a lot of schools and places to different parts of the state that people didn't know existed. And so, but Caleb's done a really good job of making his way around the state and giving coverage. And again, he has that knowledge and that experience under his belt. And just like all of us, we have our talents, we have our areas that we're our own little niches. And Caleb's definitely got his in sports.
Yeah.
He knows how to make the person he's interviewing comfortable. He really knows how to ask the questions, and he really brings life out of the interviewee. And to me, it's very enjoyable to watch. We've had a lot of people brag on Caleb. Really makes us feel good that we've been able to expand the footprint of the HSAA and all the schools here in the state. And we haven't even really started yet. I mean, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We got a lot of great things going on that side, but we're happy to have Caleb join in on this side to bring that little bit more in depth reporting to these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have him for sure. So typically this podcast won't be about us, right? We just wanted to give you guys an idea of who we were, so you could feel like you can trust us and trust the voices that we're going to be giving to you. In the future, though, we're going to be doing some more in-depth, meaningful podcasts with political figures, sports figures, entrepreneurs, business owners, religious leaders. I mean, kind of, Randy, what are your visions for this podcast in particular, and why should people listen?
Well, I want to hear their voices, and not only that, I want them to feel comfortable that we're sitting down. It's not those little quick snippet segments that you normally would see on television. John and I have also talked a good bit about that. We want someone to sit down, and if we talk for an hour or two and things are good and it's interesting, then we'll continue down that path. He and I have a true passion for entrepreneurship. I don't know about John, I'll kick it over to him, but the one beautiful thing about the media world is I get to know about other people's businesses a lot more than I ever would if I didn't handle their marketing or do some media work, and that's something that we want to show out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to encourage, our job is to support the communities that we serve, pay our civic rent, so to speak, and then, and help the businesses, the governments, and, all aspects of it. The big thing that we want to do is we want to give you the facts and let you make your own conclusions. It's not about that we want to put it one way or another. I think that the people will make up their own minds. We don't have to make them up for them. And I think that's kind of been lost in some of the mainstream media right now.
Yeah, and I want to add to that what both of you said. I think people are tired of the spin. Yeah. You get on TV a lot, and you're either one network or the other, and it depends on which side of the fence you're on politically is which network you watch. Well, we want this to be as right down the middle as possible. We don't want to try to shape or formulate somebody's opinion about something. We just want to report.
Well, and we want it to be positive. Look, we know that if we're out there reporting on newsworthy events, that sometimes it's going to be some negative that will infiltrate that story, but that's okay. We want to spin it in a positive direction. We want to look for the positive side, and we want to give everyone a voice and feel comfortable being with us, that we're not one way or the other. So that is very important to us, that everyone's comfortable with this outlet, comfortable with us as hosts and talent, that when we come around, we're not there to tell a negative story on you. We're there to give a positive spin on what's going on.
If it is negative, it's going to be simply the facts that we report and not just throwing an opinion. So, and I don't know if you're negative. I never felt the truth was negative. So, I think that we just kind of need to get out there and do it. But you're right, and a big part of this platform is going to be lifestyle, not just sports and news, not just politics. We're really hoping that we can bring out and show the true, the true value of Central Alabama.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the big focus is, like we said, real people, real stories, real voices. I'll end on this. More than anything, we want to hear from you. We want to know what the people of Central Alabama want to hear, what they're interested in talking about, what they're interested in telling their stories about. So we've set up an email address that you can contact us at cav@leemarketing.net. We'll also, obviously being a social media platform, be very involved with reader comments, being interactive with you guys, because we want to hear from you, right? You guys are the real people that we're here to serve.
That's right. And I'm excited about it. I know you guys are too. So.
Definitely are, and glad to have Lizzie on board. Lizzie brings
Could not do it without her.
Yeah, she brings great background from the newspaper to doing a lot of digital work. She loves sports, but I've known Lizzie long enough to know that it's not just sports that's a passion to her. It's communities and people that are the passion to her, and she's going to be the trigger that makes all of this go. So we're excited about it, and we hope that you are too.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Lizzie Arbogast. I've been joined by Randy Lee, Brett Pritchard, and John Kennedy, and we will see y'all soon.